your dream rank? What rank is your dream rank to be at within Plexus? I love this. Seeing so many jewels, seeing so many diamonds, really, really exciting. I love that this is a vision that you guys have, and I really hope that you guys are holding on to that during the hard days. Now I want you to put into the comments, where are you currently? What is your rank currently? Not what is your highest, like your paid rank. Like if you one time reached senior ruby, but you've never reached again, you're still senior ruby. I want you to put that in the chat. I love this. I love so many of you being here, and I love the vision that you have. Megan, I'm sorry. Can I get out of this view thing? I want to see people. I'm just staring at myself, and that's making me feel a little uncomfortable. I want to see all of you guys so I can feel like I'm talking to people, not just myself. I'm sorry to make that complicated.
No, I did not know that that's how you saw it.
Oh, maybe that's me. Maybe I just have to do it. Oh, there we go. It's me. That was on me. I'm so sorry. See, here's the thing. If I can be a diamond, anybody can be a diamond. That's all I have to say. Then we could close right now. Because I wanted to share with you guys a tiny bit of my story, and then I want to cast some vision, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this time of year is always kind of tough with the holidays coming up. We are in the middle of a crazy time in our economy, so things are very expensive, and you might be seeing your points are dropping. You might be seeing that subscriptions are turning off. You might be seeing that you have goals that you are trying to reach, but they feel really far off. I want to sit in that in a little bit, but I want to share with you guys a little bit of my story. So for 4 years, a girlfriend of mine asked me to do Plexus with her. She sent me, without me asking, she sent me samples of the pink drink, 3 of them. And you know, that's like $10. Like that's a lot of money, especially if you don't really have a whole lot of money. That's $10 if you're sending out 3 samples. Well, I threw them in the trash because I didn't know what they were. I think I was breastfeeding my second. And I was afraid of like what that would give to her. I was seeing a lot of people losing weight with Plexus, and so I assumed that it was like laced with chemicals. So I threw it in the trash. She would send me messages, and I would ignore her for 18 months. Even though we were friends, we knew each other in college, I would ignore her for 18 months. I wouldn't respond. Finally, towards the time I became a little bit more interested, I would say like, okay, you know, I'd ask questions. I'd be like, okay, I think I want to do this. And then I wouldn't respond to her for 2 weeks. Or I would be like, okay, so tell me a little bit about the business. And then she'd tell me about the business. And then I wouldn't respond for a month. Have you guys ever had people that do that to you? Yes. And it's really frustrating. But don't give up hope. If you really believe in those people, and if you really believe that they would be amazing at this business and that it could change so much for their families, don't take it personal and continue to love them. That's the thing. Tamara Holloway. Do you guys know who Tamara is? She's been with the company for a long time. I think she's like the 3rd highest paid ambassador within Plexus. She's really good. And she's really good because of the way that she pursued me is the way that she pursued everybody, out of kindness, out of love. And in those 4 years of her reaching out to me and encouraging me to do Plexus with her, she only messaged me 3 times about Plexus. But I want you to hear that. She messaged me. She was not relying on me to come to her. She wasn't relying on her social media posts to come to her. And so that's something I'm really passionate about. And I know that you guys are a part of, you know, Megan's team, and you guys, so many of you have like 80 bazillion followers. So I might be speaking to the wrong crowd, but I've got like 12 followers on Instagram. So I can't rely on my social media for people to come to me. And I feel like that is maybe not the most like normal to have 80 million followers. And so you sending out messages is something I'm really, really passionate about, rather than just waiting for people to come. I hope I'm not like, hope that that's okay, Meg. I hope that what I'm saying is not saying something different than what you say to your team. But that was really important to me with Tamara, was that the way she approached me was in total love. It was about me. She ended up with those samples that she sent. It was in this box, and she had like a couple of magazines. But the thing that stood out to me the most was her handwritten card. It was like top and bottom handwritten, talking about the qualities that she saw in me. So you guys, 4 years before I said yes, she was like breathing belief into me. And so when it came time for me to say, okay, I want to do this, I already was like, elevated. I already had that belief of like, if I can, like, if Tamara believes in me and if she sees these things in me, I can do this. And you guys know, like, starting up a business like this, it's scary. Like, it's really scary. And a lot of us are really afraid of a lot of things. And so I think that's one of my first tips is when you believe in somebody, tell them why you believe in them. Don't make your reach outs about you. Don't make, which I'm sure none of you guys do, but like, don't make it about like, hey, I'm only one order away from getting these Nike shoes, or I'm only a couple orders away from earning this cruise, or whatever it might be. That's about you. And that's not attractive. That's becoming that girl. But when you're making it about your people, when it's you're seeing, okay, Robin Robinson, I see this in you, and I believe that you would be so good at this business because of X, Y, and Z. Would you ever be open to having a conversation with me about this? That does not feel icky. If I'm Robin and I'm receiving that, I don't feel like I'm being sold to. I feel seen. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times women don't feel seen, like a lot of times, especially in our season of life, like we're moms or wives, we're working, we're super busy, and we don't feel seen a lot of times. And so that's a breath of fresh air. And I want you to hear that again. That was 4 years before I said yes to Tamara. And so in those 4 years, I was seeing Tamara continue to be my friend. Tamara, like I said, she only messaged me 3 times specifically about Plexus. And on the 3rd time, she was very intentional. And she said, listen, like, I'm not going to message you about this again. If you say no, I will hear that and I will drop it. But I want you to know, I still think you'd be amazing at this. And I said no. I was like, I'm not interested. So you don't have to message me again. So find hope in that if you have people that you really believe in who are ghosting you or saying no, that does not necessarily mean no. I will tell you that when it came time for me to say, okay, I'm ready to do this, I went to Tamara because she built that belief in me 4 years prior. She was intentional with gift giving by sending me those words, by sending me those products, even though I never tried them. She believed in me. I also went to Tamara because she was a leader in the company. When she messaged me, she had just started. So she was like a silver or a gold, but she showed me that she was a leader. And I knew that if I was going to do this, I wanted to be led by somebody who was serious about the business. I wanted to be led by somebody who was consistent, who was showing up, and who wasn't just waiting for me. Because I said no. It would have been like kind of like that obnoxious boyfriend or that obnoxious guy just like waiting for you in the corner, just waiting and waiting and waiting. But when he's gone and he's like doing his own thing, that's more attractive, right? And I think that that's kind of what it was. Like she loved me and she believed in me, but she was not waiting for me. I was not her ticket. She was going and she was changing things for her family, and I was seeing her changing things for her family because she was consistent in her posting. I was seeing other people in our same network, which I'm sure many of you guys have in your teams. You guys probably have mutual networks with people. That does not necessarily mean it's a disadvantage. That's adding credibility to you and your messages. So don't get caught up in like, oh my gosh, we're both from the same small town, which I know Megan has that with one of your jewels, right? Or a couple people on your team. That is not a disadvantage. That actually works in your favor because that adds that credibility. So I was seeing her posting, I was seeing her leading, I was seeing her moving forward in her business, I was seeing her changing things to her family. And I knew when it was time for me, I wanted to go and be with her. And that's not because she was the only one messaging me. You guys, I probably had anywhere from like 30 to 50 different people messaging me with Plexus because I just, our networks were all so similar. So many people were messaging me. So I had my pick. Like I could choose who I wanted to go with. And I went with the person that I trusted, who proved her credibility, that she was going to be there and that she was going to lead me well and she knew what she was doing. But she didn't know when she started, but she still did the bold thing. She still reached out to me when she was a silver or a gold ambassador. And so I want you to hear that it takes tenacity, it takes consistency, it takes belief, it takes leadership, and it takes asking the hard questions, asking the scary questions, and continuing to engage. So that was the other thing I was going to say too with Tamara, was that even though she only messaged me 3 times about Plexus, you guys, I think she had me like starred as a favorite or something on Facebook. I don't know if you guys can still do that, or you guys, I don't know if we can still do that, but I think she had me starred. And so every time she would open up her news feed, I would be one of the first that would pop up. And so she was constantly engaging with me, non-Plexus, constantly like liking and commenting on my posts. And this was before stories, but I mean, she was very relational. So I trusted her too. That credibility and that trust was built. And I think that that is incredibly important for leadership and looking at the chat for you guys reaching your goal of getting to jewel level or diamond level. All of those things are so important. So when I started my business, I knew I had this vision of what it was going to be for my family. I will never forget before I said yes to doing Plexus, driving with my family in the mountains. And for the first time in a really long time, I remember feeling like, I think this is the thing that's going to change everything for our family. My husband and I, we got married. My husband was a Christian missionary overseas. And when he came home, it was really hard for him to find a job. And I was working as a full-time like Christian ministry director for kids. And so that was too much for a new married couple. So I quit that. We got married. He was working part-time, driving around, taking pictures of random houses for an insurance company. And I was working part-time in somebody's shack as a craft assistant. So we had no money and we got pregnant like literally like 2 seconds after we got married. And so when I was 30, we had to go to a teen pregnancy clinic because we didn't have insurance. We didn't have money. We got pregnant. We finally got good jobs. We moved to Colorado. And then I got a really, really bad blood clot that was like, in like the cost of the blood thinners were like $4,000 a month before insurance. And so we were like having to borrow money from my parents. So we were really tight, like from the get-go financially. And so I think that we had started off our marriage like talking about goals and dreams. And my husband's amazing. He worked like a bazillion jobs, paid off all of his student loan debt. Like in the midst of all of this, he carried our family. He was incredible, but I knew like we were like on this hamster wheel, right? Like we're like what we were doing was not really getting us anywhere. We were just maintaining. And the only places I would shop, I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but I would only shop at thrift stores or yard sales. I would go to thrift stores, like these nasty, junky thrift stores that sold things by the pound, and I would take things and I would clean them up and I'd go sell them on Marketplace for like $10 and meet these random people in a parking lot. Like we were doing everything that we could to make ends meet. And so we kind of stopped dreaming because it seemed so far off. And on that drive into the mountains, when I had been, my friend Tamara ended up sending me 2 months worth of the triplex because we couldn't afford to take them. And she believed in me so much and she believed in the products so much. She gifted me 2 months worth of triplex. And I knew I loved their products immediately. Like once I started them, I was like, okay, I know this is going to change everything for my health, but I also fully believe that this is going to change everything for our family. And so when I started on January, I think it was 13th of 2017, I had this vision, like you guys there, I'm going to be a diamond. I don't know how. I know it's going to be hard. I know we're going to have ups and downs, and I'm really afraid of what people are going to think about me because I really care about relationships, and I really don't want people to see me at church and turn the other way because they think I'm just trying to make money off of them. I knew those things going into it, but I knew my heart, and I knew the products helped people. I knew that the company was led by men of integrity. And I knew that the compensation plan was changing things for my friends. So why in the heck not me? Why in the heck not my family? And so I started off just being totally coachable. And I'm sharing these things with you with the hopes that like maybe you're like catching little things like bullet points, like coachable, like that's a bullet point. Like I started off just letting, like she told me what to do. Tamara led me and shared, okay, you need to make a post. You guys, she said, make a post with a picture. And I was like, I'm so against social media and so against selfies. I'm not going to put a picture, but I'll do a post. So I was like halfway coachable. So I would like listen to her and she would tell me, okay, I want you to make a post like this. I want you to kind of share about this. I want you to think about maybe doing a training like this. And I'm like, what? I don't even know how to work my phone. I can't make a training. But I was showing up and I was learning and I was soaking things in. You guys, she sent me different videos, like 3-minute videos about the products. So I was educating myself and growing in my confidence over these products. And I remember watching it, I think it was a Jen Leith training that I watched at the very beginning. And I remember her saying, just remember like one line about each product, and that's going to help give you confidence. And so I just continued to grow and I continued to learn. Every time I'd be in the car, I would be playing some sort of training by leaders who had gone ahead of me and who had gotten to the places that I wanted to go. And I would start trying different things. And so it wasn't Tamara just spoon feeding me. I was a self starter. She showed me where to go. She showed me how to find the resources. And then it was up to me. And so that's what I want to encourage here is if you are in a season of maybe you're not in crazy momentum like you guys have been for the past couple of years, that's kind of what's happening right now. Like all those factors that I listed out, like that's what's happening around the world. Don't get freaked out in that. Don't go down a path of fear. Understand that anything worthwhile is uphill. Like you're never going to have like this beautiful seamless like all the way straight up. It's like you're constantly like upping and downing and ebbs and flows of your business. And so you have to have that emotional maturity to understand this is normal. This does not mean that my business is shot or that I'm not cut out for this. This means maybe you need to lean in a little bit more. Maybe you need to be a little bit more reflective. And when I say you, please don't think that I'm preaching to you. I'm speaking in general. This is what I say to myself. This is what I say to my team. It is important for us to be reflective. And so some of the things that you can ask yourself is, how am I showing up to my business? How often am I showing up to my business? Do I view my business as my business? Am I getting in and am I leading my team? Am I sharing with my team what I am doing daily? Am I sharing messages that I'm sending? Tip here, fun little side tip, is sometimes in my thread, like I have a level 1 thread of my business runners, and then I have another thread of like all my runners on my team. And sometimes in my level 1 thread, I'll say like, okay, guys, I'm going to send out 5 messages today, and I'm going to send you guys every single message just to hold myself accountable. And then I don't go to bed until I have shared with my team, because that builds credibility, that builds trust, and that also shows them that you're in the trenches, and it guides them and shares with them how to have these conversations, to how to have this dialogue. So are you showing up for your team? Do you have that ownership? Are you relying on your uplines to do the fun gifts and the fun incentives? Or are you doing the fun for your team? Are you thinking outside of the box? Are you going to those resources? Are you training yourself and then sharing with your team? Are you doing book studies for your team? I'll be honest, I didn't start doing book studies for my team until this last year, and they've like changed everything for our team. They've changed everything for me and for my leadership. And that was something I realized in my reflection of, I'm not doing that. I need to do more as a leader. Maybe in reflection, when was the last time that you added a customer? Maybe beyond that, when's the last time that you developed a silver? What is holding you back? Like, what are you avoiding in your business? And oftentimes what you're avoiding is the thing that needs to be done first. The thing that you're avoiding is the thing that's going to move the needle forward in your business. I see a lot of times people are like, I am working all of the time. I'm feeling burned out. I'm working all of the time. And then when you get down into it and you get reflective, you see, well, the work that they're doing may just be like kind of some fluff, not necessarily the non-negotiables. And I don't know with Meg, I don't know what you guys have shared with your team, but for our team, the non-negotiables, like this is simple. It's not an easy business, but it's simple. The non-negotiables are you're reaching out and inviting people, you're following up with people, you are sharing on social, and you're training yourself. Like those are the 4 non-negotiables that you should be doing in your business 5 days a week. And now with the intensity, like depending on where your goal is, and so many of you guys put that your goals are to get to, emerald or sapphire or diamond, there's an intensity that can be there, but consistency trumps intensity. I have a girl that actually used to be on my team. She's no longer on my team, and she was amazing. Like, she was so beautifully talented, had the most amazing testimony, had the most amazing graphics, and like had this vision for where she was taking her team, but she was not coachable, and she only did things in intense spurts. Can I tell you, she lasted for about 5 months and then stayed on the team for 18 months and just sat in victimhood. Occasionally would go to her thread and be like, okay, you guys, this is the time, we're going Ruby. But she had lost all trust and all credibility with her team because she never was consistent. She didn't show up like a leader. She was emotional and attached to, like, she was attached to her point. She was attached to the responses that she'd be getting. She was attached to if her team was working or not. She was so outwardly focused that she couldn't bring it on in and be focused on those non-negotiables and growing in her leadership. And I don't want that for you guys. I don't want you guys to have this intensity, because I know it's been intense the past couple of years with y'all's business. You've had great momentum. Don't let that burn you out as you're looking at maybe, and I don't know, maybe y'all's points are great, but I know right now for my team, like, a lot of our leaders are seeing a small decline in their points. Don't let that define you. That's a point where you can lean into your business and be reflective, and you start making it fun for your team. Go back to the things that brought you joy. And most of the time, those are going to be the hard things. And the hard things are going to be the conversations that you're having with the people. You're reaching out, you're following up, you're doing that customer care, you're inviting people to know about the business. That's where fruit comes with this business. I want to end here. So my team, so we do all sorts of things with our team, and I think I've shared with Megan, and if you want me to like make a bullet point of what we do, I'm happy to share that with you guys. But one of the things that we do, so we do an accountability group every single Monday night, which is where we only do non-negotiables, and I can talk through the details of that later if anybody has questions. But we do that for 30 minutes. We come together after we've had a full week. Sorry, let me get a drink of water. After we've had like a full week of doing our 5 days of non-negotiables, then we come together on Monday night for this like accountability group where we kind of talk through the things that worked, our wins. We do a little bit of training, we do some celebrating, but we talk through like what worked. Let's talk through the things that we did that we're proud of from this week. And then after that, we go to a book study, and we have like a by rank book study. And so I'm leading a book study for my senior golds and above. That's my leadership team right there. Like, I've got a couple jewels on my team, but my leadership team is my senior gold and above. And I saw a ton of you put in here that you are senior gold or above. Y'all are the leaders. Y'all are the foundation of this team. So I hope that you view yourself as a leader, and I hope that you start really diving in to leadership, because that's one of the pillars of our business is leadership. Without leadership, you are not going to go far. And so if you're senior gold or above, in my mind, like on my team, you are like the foundation of our business. And so last night, so we're doing the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Just so you know, like, if you're silver or gold, that does not mean you're not a foundational part of the business. I hope that you know that, but I also hope, like, what I'm saying is when I look at my team and we come together every week, that's my leadership group right there. Okay, so last night we went over the law of buy-in and the law of victory. And I want to share with you on the law of buy-in. This is John Maxwell, and he talks about with leadership, like, the people, your team buys into the leader before they buy into the vision. And so he's talking about how, as you as a leader, how can you create this credibility for your team to buy into you as a leader? Because once you guys all have a vision together, there's like no stopping, right? Like, there's no stopping. When you guys know where you're going, you are equipped, you have the resources, and you're linked arms together and you're doing it together, there's no stopping. But how do you as a leader create that credibility? So write these things down. Oh yeah, Ashley, we're going to talk about the victory in just a second too, because that one's so good. But how do you create credibility with individuals? Write these down, and then after the call, be reflective on how you're doing. And you'll notice the first three are about you and what you are doing personally. And then the last 3 are about your other people. So number 1, developing a good relationship with individuals. So again, this is what creates credibility with individuals. So developing a good relationship with them. Second is, and this is recorded, so if you miss it, I can also type it up. Being honest and authentic and developing trust. That's what it was with Tamara. I trusted her. So that's what you want, is to show that you want to build that trust. So being honest, authentic, and developing trust. The third is holding yourself to high standards and setting a good example. That's exactly what I talked about with how are you sharing with your team? Are you sharing with your team the things that you're doing? Are you raising the lid of your leadership and you're getting in and doing those non-negotiables every day? That's setting the good example and then sharing with your team what you're doing. Those are the first 3. The last 3, are you giving them tools to do their job better? And the cool thing is that's not on you. Like, there's so many resources out there. So be a little bit organized and start saving the training videos that you're watching and save them in different folders on YouTube of like product training, onboarding or duplication training, leadership training, customer care, troubleshooting. Like, have organization so that way you can be sending out those resources to your people when they come to you and they say, Andrea, I'm really struggling with X, Y, and Z. You'd be like, I got something for you, because you're not the expert, but you've got those resources. Okay. The 5th thing is helping them to achieve their personal goals. That helps build credibility, is helping your other people achieve their goals. And that comes from having that relationship with them, knowing what their goals are, knowing about them, knowing about their heart, where they want to go. And the last thing is developing them as leaders. And again, so much more is caught than taught. And so I feel like that can feel really weighty of like, I don't know how to develop leaders. Well, as you're developing yourself as a leader, that's going to trickle down and you're going to be sharing with your team what you're learning. And then they're going to start embracing that. They're going to start training themselves. They're going to start learning how to be a leader themselves as well. So don't put the weight on your shoulders of like, I've got to go and create all these leaders. No, you've got to go and give them the resources. You've got to set an example. Okay, the last thing I'm going to say is, this is like Ashley was talking about, and the law of victory. This is kind of a stinger. We talked about this last night, and I was telling my leaders that I feel like in order to get to the top of the company, or in order to have success in anything that is hard, you have to embrace this law of victory. And John Maxwell is talking about how the best leaders feel compelled to rise to a challenge and to do everything in their power to achieve victory for their people. And I'm going to read these 7 different things that he says these leaders of victory hold. And again, be reflective. Is this where your mindset is? If it's not, that doesn't mean it's done for with your business. That just means that's an area that maybe you need to grow in. That an area, maybe an area that like you didn't even realize that was a weakness, or fear was kind of sitting there, or whatever. So when I read this, I was like, okay, this is how you get to the top right here. Like, no backdoor. That's how you get to the top. And so he breaks it down like this. Leadership is responsible. Losing is unacceptable. And I want to do a parentheses there. We all fail in our business daily. Like, we all have areas of our business that don't go the way that we want them to go, but that's not losing unless you let it be a losing situation and you just quit. That is a lesson that you're learning. So I want to make sure that we clarify here that losing is unacceptable. That doesn't mean like if you have had a failure, then you're done for. That's not what he's saying. Losing is unacceptable. Passion is unquenchable. Creativity is essential. Quitting is unthinkable. No backdoor. You're here, you have a vision for where you're going, and you are not going to quit. Commitment is unquestionable, and victory is inevitable. So when you have your mind focused on where you're going and where you're taking your people, and you're working on your leadership and you're sharing the things that you're doing, ultimately you're being a leader. Like, you're taking ownership of your business, and you have passion and where this is taking you and your family and your people, victory is inevitable. And that's what I have to say. Anybody is capable of doing this, but you have to have that vision, the no backdoor attitude, and you got to be pulling people along. You can't just sit and wait for people to come to you, because the last thing that you're going to get is, if you're sitting on your rump and you've not done anything with your business, you're not going to get Beyonce or a leader to come and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to Megan. I haven't seen her post anything in about a year. I don't know if she's even doing the business, but I want to change things for my family, and I'm going to go to her. They're not going to go to somebody that's not doing anything and showing up. They're going to go to the leader. So that's all I have to share. Meg, do you have any thoughts or questions or anything?
No, but thank you so much. That was so good. And I think, we're at a time where this was really, really helpful for our team to really remember, that it doesn't matter where we're at right now, and the world's hard right now and things like that. And we can still push through this, and not to define ourselves by the points maybe going down, or feel like that's a failure or this or that, because it can be defeating if we don't like just say to ourselves, like, I am not just these points. I am not just this, what the back office tells me I am. That doesn't define me as a person or a leader, or just somebody helping people with their health goals, so I love it so much. Does anybody have, we've got 2 minutes before we get kicked off. Does anybody have
Sorry, I just talked too much, you guys.
No, oh my God. I was like, let's go for another 5 hours here. I was
Girl, you need to pay that money and get a little bit more of the Zoom, you cheapskate.
I know, for real. I know, I do. I've been using Marianne for so long. Marianne.
Oh my gosh, you're a diamond. You can do it.
Okay, fine. You've convinced me. All right. Anybody have any questions? Listen, I don't. All right.
Go read 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Go have fun with your team. You can do it. Go be the leader that you want to be leading you.
Yes.
Like if you wish, I wish that this were I wish this were given to me or whatever. Go do that for your team. Mm-hmm. Like, you have control. You go change things for your team. Andrea, woot woot. I just want to say that I find one person whenever I am talking and I make a connection. You are my girl. I think a lot of it had to do with your eye contact, but also your name. Woot woot.
That's her thing.
I love it.
All right. Thank you so much, Emily. I really appreciate it. Everybody is obsessed with you now. So
I'm obsessed with you guys
already. They will come find you.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for letting me be on.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.